Good morning. Another quick countryside tech review. I just wanted to share a little bit how I'm getting a proper internet connection, which is always an issue, obviously, when you are in the countryside. As you can see from the phone line, we're fairly remote here, and before it even gets to the next village, there's over a mile and a half going through very old small phone lines. In the past, I've tried the sort of classic way and route of getting the internet and subscribing with various providers, going through the phone lines. And I've tried to improve this as much as I could, and we could barely get 2.5 megs, which was just absolutely ridiculous to work with. Then I looked at various options. Another option was the 4G routers that some of the providers do, probably all of them. I tried 3, I tried O2, tried Vodafone, and pretty much the same results. It was better than 2.5 megs, but you basically get something oscillating between probably 10 and 20, and very unreliable, and some days it's just not possible. So I switched to Starlink, which we can see over there, a Starlink dish, which is a square dish in the next field. The reason why it's there is because it's on the roof of the stables that we can see there, and the white square dish, and it's not really a dish, it's a square dish. But the point is, it's connected to open sky, and it's obviously connected to a router as well. And with a long cable, it goes, all the way to the main house, and then in the house I have another router which allows to sort of have proper Wi-Fi in the house, and I've got several sort of Wi-Fi repeaters, boxes, and various areas of the house, because it's quite not a big house, but a long house, so there would otherwise be areas where it doesn't connect. But the point being, the interesting part here is more the satellite option, which I wanted to share, and it's Starlink. So Starlink is the Elon Musk, SpaceX and Tesla sort of internet solution. They offer a mobile solution where you can go around on a boat or in a car, in a camper van or whatever, with one of those dishes over there, and that you will work anywhere you go, and you can just put it somewhere on the top of your car or on your boat or wherever. And then also obviously you have the house sort of version, so it's the same principle, except it's not mobile, it's just a different subscription, but it's the same dish, the same gear effectively. And here's just sitting there, it's plugged into a router, the router is plugged into the main, and that's pretty much it, to be honest. It takes about 5 minutes to connect to the proper satellites. Obviously there are many satellites, I think there's 500k above, which isn't very far at all for satellites, but it sort of provides a very good internet connection as far as I'm concerned, and certainly in comparison to what I used to have before. Super easy to install. Again, you plug it in, it's literally, you need to put that dish somewhere. It can be mounted on a pole on the top of your house, roof, chimney, or whatever. Wherever you have you need clear vision of the sky to get the satellites, but aside from that, that's all you need to do. Plug it in, and you're up and running. And I get anything from, depending on the days, obviously, and the weather, and although it doesn't get that much affected by the weather. I've had very bad weather, very bad storms and wind and thunderstorms and clouds and you name it. and always had a stable connection. I very, very rarely get disconnected. You do get disconnections when you look at the app, so it's all controlled from an app on your mobile. You do get like micro disconnection, and I'm talking about, you know, half a second, a second, but you don't notice it. Doesn't affect what you're doing. You know, you've got people playing online live in the house. We have obviously video calls, and some days working from home, and also obviously streaming. Everything is streaming. I have a satellite dish attached to the house, but you know, I get some more channels, and I get that through streaming. So sometimes you get the streaming, you get the online gaming, you get music. Everything is streaming. Everything is using the internet, and it's working perfectly fine. Never had any issue at all. And you get anything from, I guess 50 is the worst megs. Average is probably 150, 100, 120. I mean, those sort of range. And if I try it now early morning, obviously it depends on the satellite's position. It gets better depending on which satellite it connects to, but also depends on who's on it, I'm guessing. Sort of, you know, it's taking a little bit of bandwidth, I suppose, if there are more people using it. I've got my neighbors whom I recommended the same solution to, so they use it just next door. Occasionally I see in the countryside some houses who have it, but it seems very unknown, or not many people are aware of it, or, you know, maybe it's uncommon to be that remote, I don't know. But the point is, it is a very, very workable solution, and you get up to 300, 350 sometimes megs, specifically in the mornings, and it's good. I mean, it's good, it's reliable, it works. And I think that's effectively what I'm, you know, wanted to share, and what I had been looking for that for quite a while, and I found it. Been using it for probably a year and a half now. Never had any issue. The support is online. I had a previous dish, I had a previous version. It was a round dish, and for whatever reason, water went in it. And I just pinged them on their support, and they sent me brand new equipment. Didn't charge me for it. So yeah, good. And it comes from California, I think, and you get it 3-4 days later, quicker than you get things shipped from the UK sometimes, or in Europe. You do have to pay just to be clear, the equipment initially. So you pay for the router, you pay for the dish, and I can't remember how much it is, but 400 quid, 500 quid, I can't remember exactly, but you can look it up, Starlink. But you know, then it's yours. You can pause the subscription, which is quite good. So if it's a mobile option that you have on a camper van or boat, or you name it, or a holiday house, or, you know, it works in any country, obviously, anywhere in the world, right? You just, if it's not mobile, you can't change the location all the time. You need to reset it when you go somewhere, and go through their support, and it will reset it. But if it's a mobile, it works for anywhere. But the good thing is you can pause it. So if you don't want to pay for it because you only use it a couple of months a year or whatever, you can pause it. So for instance, it stays here, subscription is paused, and you can resume it whenever you need it, and you start being billed. And that's simple. It's direct debit in your bank and sorted. So I really, really, really recommend it. If you're on the countryside, you'll get a poor connection. There are other satellite options out there, but I know people who tried them and they were never really happy. Not so much about the disconnections, but they experience some lags, because obviously it needs to go, anytime there's a request, it goes up and back, and you know, it's obviously much, technically speaking, much more latency than it would be on super high speed internet, fiber, you name it. Of course, you cannot compete with that in terms of latency. Probably talking about 30, 20, I experienced anything between 25 and 30 on average millisecond latency, which some people would argue is too long if you're gaming. I've never, you know, if I have gaming happening online in the house, it's never affected anyone at all, really. So indication that it must be working fine, or it must be enough. I'm sure super gamers and people like that will find that it's, you know, for whatever reason not quick enough and it needs fiber, but you won't get fiber here. So you might get it in a village, but you know, 1.5 miles away from the nearest village, you won't get fiber. That's the bottom line. So it's a very, very good alternative. Had, again, neighbors using very high aerials, using 4 5Gs or a combination of that and some satellite, and they charge a lot of money, and it works, but you know, it's not as quick as that, by no means. And once you've paid obviously for the equipment, it's £75 per month as a subscription. For the fixed option, for the moving option, I think it's, or mobile option rather, it's, I think it's 85 quid. But 75 is, you know, to have a stable internet connection, have everything relying on it, to be able to do everything, streaming, listening to music, video, gaming, working. It's, yeah, it's expensive. Appreciate, you know, you probably get for the same price all kind of TV channels, etc., if you live in town, but we don't. So the bottom line, if you live in the countryside, you can order this. You order it from the app on your mobile, install the app, Starlink app, order from the app. You'd get the equipment shipped, you pay for it, you start the subscription, you pause it when you want to pause it, and you pay direct debit every month, and I'm sorry, you never have any issue. That's pretty much what I care about personally. It's enough for me. I'm sure people will need more. There's a business option as well, worth mentioning, which I've never used, but I think it gives you more speed, it gives you priority on the satellites, and you get more speed, and you know, it's not data limited either, by the way. It's an important point, because some of the other options are data limited. So there's ever so much data you have every month, and if you start streaming and listening to music and video conf and online gaming and all the rest of it, you'll reach you know, your limit, and then you'll start paying much more, or your speed will be reduced tremendously, which isn't the case here. There's no restriction in the data, no speed restriction, you know, and at least for the moment, that's how it works, and it works very well. So strongly recommend it. Again, if you have any question, that's this guy here, Starlink. Have a look. Any question, any comment, please ask. Again, sorry, this is not a very high-tech movie set on YouTube, but it's trying to share common problems, issues, and how it was solved rather than anything else. So happy to help. Anyway, just ask, don't hesitate. Thanks a lot.